All right. Well, welcome everyone. We are so glad to have you here. Today's webinar, Seamless Field Task Management, our introduction to the Task Link tool powered by GoCanvas. I'm Luke Prescott. I'll be the moderator for today's session. I lead the product and design team here at Bluebeam. We're very much looking forward to showing you where Brent and Louisa will walk us through the new Task Link integration and review. We set out to build a way to connect the office to the field in ways not previously possible. We knew that you all expect markups to be central to this experience, as well as utmost flexibility where the files that these issues are related to live. Those could be local, network, studio, even DMS apps. So with those principles in mind, we set out to build a field issue tracker that conforms to how you work, not changing how you work to conform to the technology. So let's meet the presenters. We've got the LinkedIn profiles up there in the top left. You're welcome to click through those and connect with us. I'll start with myself. I'm Luke. My journey began here at Bluebeam back in 2008 as a review user within the Los Angeles market. And some number of years later, I'm here hosting this webinar. Next up, we've got Louisa. And Louisa is our senior product manager here at Bluebeam. She leverages several years of experience in construction technology to address the needs of construction and design professionals. Louisa specializes in our vertical integrations with a particular focus on connecting Bluebeam to platforms such as DocuSign, GoCanvas, and AI-powered tools. And of course, I'd love to introduce you to Brent. Brent is with GoCanvas. He is a seasoned product leader. He currently serves as our VP of product at GoCanvas, where Brent has played a key role in driving product innovation since 2011. Brent is one of the earliest employees at GoCanvas, and he joined during the company's startup phase and has been instrumental throughout GoCanvas's evolution from initial venture capital backing through private equity to the integration within the Nemetschek group. We are so glad to have Brent part of the team. Brent's career began as a designer involved in product leadership and has made substantial contributions to GoCanvas's growth and technology. And we are thrilled to be able to have GoCanvas technology integrated into Revu to the extent that Louisa and Brent are going to show today. So with all that in mind, let's get on to the good stuff. We're going to dive into today's session, and I will hand it over to Louisa. Louisa, please take it away.
Thank you for that introduction, Luke. So before jumping into Task Link, let's talk about Revu. Revu speaks the language of construction without strictly dictating how to do your takeoffs or your punch lists or your drawing revisions. You simply use our measurement tools, our beloved tool chest, and mark up whatever needs to be documented, communicated, or changed within your team. But what happens when all of this documentation needs to make it to the field? How do you keep everyone up to date? How do you keep yourself up to date and informed to track all of the work that is happening, being done by multiple people? That is not a rhetorical question. It is something that we actually want to know from you. So we'll kick off the interactive piece of this webinar by asking you, what are your biggest challenges when coordinating work between office and field teams? And I actually have a counter on my side, so I get to see how many people are responding. So please, if you're able to share this with us, it actually helps us understand the tools that we're delivering to you and how much impact we can have. So I'll give it a few seconds here while we wait for responses to come in. I've seen one. Thank you for that very first person. And that turned into 11. Okay. 5%. Nice. And I'm curious, if there are other ones, please click other, share with us in the chat. What are those issues that you're seeing? How often do you see them? And we do have some team members in the chat who will be able to answer your questions and who are paying attention to everything you are saying. So I will be looking forward to all of this feedback. 44%. Okay. Let's make it at least 50%. Okay, let's give it a few more seconds there before I jump into the results. Okay, Let's do 5 more seconds before we jump in. We're at 55%. Okay, the moment I click next, you won't be able to share with us anymore. Last few seconds. Okay, seems the number is not moving up anymore, so I'm going to look at the results now. Okay, so this is what we've been hearing for a while. Let's see. So communication delays, 35%. Loss of incomplete information, 45%. Duplicate work, limited integration with Office Teams. Do we have others? 6% others. Please, if you're able to share what that other is in the chat section, I would really love to understand what we missed here. So let's go to the next one. So as you have been saying, right, you just told us in the poll, these are the challenges that you're seeing every day, both in the office and in the field. And statistically speaking, what we're seeing is that it takes about 13 hours a week researching for project data. So your printed documents, your emails, all of that is stuck somewhere. That's time that you don't have to go back home, or time that you could be using for other things. And by the end of the project, I've heard this directly from our customers. 10% of project documents go missing because they're stuck somewhere in someone's folder, someone's pickup truck. And what that leads to is a lack of communication, right? Things are not updated at the right time. You're missing information, and that leads to a lot of rework. And we know that 52% of rework is tied to that miscommunication. And that's only in the office. If we translate that to the field, we also see challenges of lack of real-time visibility into the priorities and into changes that have happened. Outdated documents that, if they're printed, they're wrinkled and coffee stained. And that leads to lack of context and potential rework, which leads to, of course, frustration in the field teams. But what if we could change how your office and field teams connect so that we can bridge the gap between I marked it up to it's done? So because every markup is a task waiting to happen, we bring you TaskLink, powered by GoCanvas. This native integration connects GoCanvas forms to Revu markups, allowing you to dispatch tasks to field teams and access real-time field updates directly within Revu. But Brent, why don't you tell us more about GoCanvas?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Luisa. And thank you everybody for joining. I'm really excited for this whole presentation and this day. Before I jump into that, I actually wanted to ask one more question of this group. From yourselves, how are you sharing information with your field teams today? When you need to get work to and from the field, are you using a combination of email, text messages, printed documents, review, markups, others? Check all that applied. Let us know how you're moving information to and from the field when you're working on a job. Cool, seeing things trickle in. I'm pretty certain this is multiple choice, so please select all that are applicable to you. Give this a few more seconds. Couple more. All right, let's take a look at what we got here. So, we've got essential information that we need to get to and from the field, and it's super common to hear that people are kind of stitching together multiple different ways to kind of make this happen today. And a lot of it's kind of more traditional analog style. So, a combination of email, texting, printed documents, sharing markups, and then other can be all kinds of other things too, making it happen. I've got customers that come from a world where they're still faxing stuff, believe it or not. So really common to hear this, and not surprised to see a nice mixed bag here. That's really common that we've kind of heard from the GoCanvas customer base in general. And a little more background on GoCanvas before we dive further into TaskLink, that I think will give some helpful context to the group. So GoCanvas, about 1.5 years ago, we joined the Nemetschek family and have officially partnered up with Bluebeam, and we have been working kind of at the hip, joined side by side since then, really to help further that mission where we're powering construction all over the world. At our very core, GoCanvas simplifies fieldwork. And by that, I mean, since 2008, we've been working with the trades of all shapes and sizes, get off of paper, email, and text messages to get that essential information to and from the field. And the way that we do that was we have a one-stop shop built specifically for the field mobile application that houses all of your digital forms and all of your tasks right there on your mobile device. It's really, really easy to use, requires virtually no training to get the field up and running. It works offline, so if you've got low to no connectivity, as so many of our customers do, it works awesome there. Our customers will tell you that they spend way less time doing data entry, both in the field and in the back office. Our data will tell you that people end up skipping a lot less of those important forms. You get those forms back that are halfway filled out. You get way less of that with us because of how much easier it is to use. And what that really means and translates to at the end of the day is you've got less risk across all of your operations and your people. Better, dependable, more reliable data to and from the field means less risk for everybody. It's super easy to put all that information you're collecting into professional, fully branded PDF reports that you can send to your customers, to the back office, or whomever needs it. We also integrate really, really nicely with your existing systems. So you've got other pieces and parts and systems and workflows that work great today, and you don't want to disrupt those. Think of GoCanvas as kind of the mortar between the bricks, where we help connect the data between those systems to make sure that information gets to and from them correctly, on time, as expected. And best of all, this is so easy to use. You don't need to be a technical wizard to do it. It's all drag and drop to get things configured. So you don't need to be an IT specialist to make this happen either. It was intentionally designed to be easy for anybody to pick up and start using. Cool. So for the last, better part of the last year, we've really been thinking, well, how do you take this field application, really easy to use, all the digital forms, all the workflows, and combine it with Bluebeam and Revu to unlock a really excellent experience where we can start enriching those field markups. And that's exactly what has led us to the design of TaskLink, which we're going to do a demonstration of right now. I'm going to pass it back to Louisa, and she and I are going to kind of talk through at a high level how this works. Louisa.
Thank you for that, Brent. Imagine all of those GoCanvas time savings all within Revu. And I know there is a bit of a lag here. I see it in the chat. So I'll wait for the video to actually start playing. Great. So like I mentioned before, this integration happens at the markup level. So the first step here is I'm just connecting to my account. And the moment that I connect Revu and GoCanvas, I'm able to go to my right-click on that on the markup, click Create a Dispatch, and that pulls up every form that has been pre-created in GoCanvas. I'll assign it, and that will automatically show me every field that has been preset in that form. I can pre-fill it for any information that the field team needs, and I'll send it.
And over here on the right, you can see an example of what it looks like for the mobile experience. So they'll get a push notification. They go into the GoCanvas app. They can go and they can easily review the PDF, and they can see the markup. They can zoom in right there, get whatever information they need. Okay, I need to get to meeting 214. I'll move over to there. I'll collect the information that I need to. So I can take photos right there on the spot, no problem. If I want to add some notes, I can do that really easily as well. I'll do that here. I can even sign off if I want to collect a signature there. And just like that, I have captured that information for that lightweight RFI. And you can see here that report, super easy to use, and that gets pushed right back into Revu.
And if you notice the statuses were updating automatically, we're also going to be able to see that field PDF report inside Revu. Now, we just moved over from the active document tab to the history tab, where I'm going to be able to see all of the links ever created in case you're losing that document, you don't know where it is. Now, if there's work that's happening ad hoc, I'm able to connect to my markups, any one of those forms that were created on mobile. So I'll just find all of that, especially for projects that are midway. And if you're going to start using TaskLink midway, you're going to be able to connect everything that has been previously created. My markup will show me all of those connections as well. And at the end, when you need to share all of this information with your stakeholders, you're able to go into exports. I'll do it with the open files right now. It will take my review PDF and take all of the GoCanvas forms associated to that PDF and export it into one neat package. So that's it. This was, what, 3 clicks? You export and you share with absolutely anyone that you need. That was just a brief introduction. We will talk more about giving you access so you can look at all of the details. But what are the main 3 things that I want you to remember? 1, if you noticed, we're able to assign tasks by using dispatches, and that allows for you to keep your team accountable, all within Revu. So within Revu, you will dispatch a form, assign it to someone, track the status, which is synced inside Revu, and once it's done, it all comes back, right? So you stay informed, your team stays informed as well. With the Revu PDF that you saw inside the GoCanvas mobile app, everyone has all the information they need, regardless of the platform that they live in. Additionally, because we're using the GoCanvas mobile app and leveraging their extensive method of data collection, you'll be able to capture richer field data. That is text, that is photos, videos, signatures, and much more. And last, like I showed you with the export functionality, you'll be able to easily organize your documentation and share it with all of your stakeholders. So if you're doing this from day one or from the day that you start working with TaskLink, you're able to keep all of your documents connected to your markup, which lives on your document, right? So you'll be able to, by the end of the day, look at every single connection, like a network of work that has happened with all the data that you need, and voila, closeout is done. Passing it back to Brent.
Thank you so much, Luisa. One last question for the group. There's a ton of information there, a lot of exciting new potential. Curious though, what jumps out right away to you? Was there anything in particular about the integration that you think is going to be the most helpful for your team? Is it automatically having those field updates centralized right there in Revu? Is it going to be scheduling and assigning those tasks with all that necessary information out to the field? Is it going to be receiving clear and detailed data from the field that's really going to help things out? Is it going to be data coming back from the field linked to those markups so that it's easy to kind of have those documents shared and closed out? Or is it something else that jumps to mind? If there's things that are other, please put that in the chat. We'd love to hear that feedback. But yeah, would love to hear what jumps out to you as the most useful thing right away. We'll give 30 seconds or so for people to answer. Seeing things come in, awesome. Seeing some good questions come in also in the Q&A, so please feel free to keep those coming too. Give it a few more seconds. Okay, let's take a look at the results here. All right, another nice mix. Field data linking right to markups for ease of document sharing and closeout. That would have been my, I would have gambled big that would have been the #1, and it was. So that's awesome to see. Great, 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 great. Okay, so some of the questions that I have seen, just kind of glancing over the Q&As, a little bit about, hey, what plan is this available on? Pricing, things of that nature. So let's get right to that next. And we are excited to announce that we've got an exclusive offer right here for Bluebeam customers. Access to TaskLink, just an additional $108 per user per year. It comes out to $9 a month, which we're really excited about. I think you're going to get a ton of value. Being able to unlock those insights and have that all organized right then and there in Revu. So we're really happy about that. This is also slated to go live officially later this year, but as a special thank you to all of you for being here today, If you're interested in early access and you want to get your hands on it sooner, all you got to do is scan this QR code, and we can absolutely get you early access and make that happen. So please, I'm going to leave this here so we can get any scanning done that we need to get done. And then we're going to jump over to Q&A next. But so be sure if you have any additional questions, feel free to get those into the chat. We'll get to as many as we can get to today. If there are any that we don't get to, we'll follow up after the fact. We want to make sure everybody gets their answers. And please, please, please join the TaskLink beta. We're super excited. We've got customers that are using it right now that have given us awesome feedback, and they're loving it. We'd love to get way more of you also involved. I'll leave this up for a few more seconds. Okay, 10-second warning on the QR code. Pro tip, if you want to, actually, maybe that won't work. I was going to say, if you want to take a picture of it, just in case you want to scan it later, that might work. You could try that. Maybe a screenshot, and then you can take a picture later. Cool. Okay. And with that, we're going to move over to Q&A. And Luke, I'm going to pass the mic back to you.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Louisa. Don't go too far. There's been lots of really great questions coming in. Please, everyone, continue to submit your questions. We're doing our best to check the chat for questions, but also submit them to the Q&A section. Give me one moment here, Brent. I'm going to queue up a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Let me just pull this up because I think this would be a good one. Let's see. Joel asks, for the GoCanvas form, do all fields need to be filled out or can some be left blank? Can the standard fields be modified to be customized?
Yeah, great question. So the answer is that's kind of up to you as kind of the owner of the information. So we have some customers that will create forms and workflows that are very particular, and they want to make sure that every single thing gets filled out all the time, and people cannot submit without making sure that something is filled out every single time. So it is really easy to make things or everything required if you want to do that. It just kind of depends on your use case and how essential that is. Also, in terms of standard fields being modified, added, or review, yeah, the answer is absolutely. So, we have thousands of form templates available to you to start with. And customizing them completely to however you want to organize it, or if you want to add stuff, remove stuff, add in photos, take out photos, all of that's really, really easy to do with our drag and drop. We've kind of intentionally designed it so that you are the expert in your space and how you work. We've given you a super flexible tool that bends to you, not the other way around. So you can absolutely customize everything. Today we just showed a very simple example of what a light RFI could look like, but it could be as complicated as a several dozen page inspection if you wanted to have someone go out there and fill that out. You can, everything under the sun in terms of what you can fill out is pretty possible with GoCanvas. Good question, Great. Joel.
Brent, I'm gonna stick with you. We've got a few questions that have come in about how to get information into GoCanvas. So let me just kind of throw out some of them, and we can come back and cover them. Is there a voice to text feature within GoCanvas? Can I talk my notes in? What about photos and videos? What are maybe even audio files too, if I just wanted to attach an audio file? To talk us through some of the ways in which information can be added into the form.
Yeah, absolutely. I could spend 30 minutes on this, so I'm gonna try to do the 3-minute version instead. So voice to text, absolutely. You can do that. We have a lot of customers that do that. They'll have a long input field and they'll just talk into it and writes all their notes up. That's how they like to roll. No problem. You can absolutely do that. Photos is also essential to a huge amount of our customers. You can take as many photos as you need to take. We also allow you to take videos, video/audio. So if you got a generator that's making a weird clunking noise or spinning kind of weird, you can take a look at that and get that captured, share that out also. It's also really, really easy to get data out of other systems and push it into your forms. So if you have a parts list or a list of customers or job details, and you don't want somebody to have to type all that stuff in every single time, you can have a CSV that has all that information and push that down automatically. So you can just kind of pick from a job name in a dropdown, and everything else about that job gets automatically filled out accurately and correctly. You could also wire it up if you've got something on the back end, a database of some kind that houses all that information. Our API is really easy to use and has awesome documentation. So if you just want to grab stuff directly from that, you can pull that in also. If you also want to have data that you're collecting get pushed out into other systems, that's also super easy to do with that API. We very much are a conduit for information to flow to and from the field. And so we give you lots of options on how exactly you want to do that.
Yeah, great. And one more for you, Brent, and then we'll jump to Louisa. Great question from Ryan here. Does the beta test require a GoCanvas subscription?
Right, that $108, that's all inclusive for everything that you need to get up and running. So $108 per user per year, get you up and running. It'll come with a GoCanvas account, everything that you need to get connected and wired up. And we're happy to walk you through and help you get that set up as needed to make that happen. Absolutely.
Great, awesome, thank you. Louisa, we've had some good questions about how to get access to TaskLink, which versions TaskLink is in. We've even had some saying, I'm looking for it today in Revu and I don't see it. Tell us about when TaskLink is in Revu and the difference between TaskLink and GoCanvas. There's some good fundamental questions there.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you saw, we had that QR code. With that, you'll be able to access data. So that is already available, and it requires a specific build of Revu. That will be updated with new functionality in the next 2 weeks. But if you go and sign up today, you'll be able to have access today. It is special, so you're not going to be able to see it in your current build. We are releasing in December, and that then once it goes out, it's accessible to absolutely everyone that has Bluebeam licenses. Now, the key difference there between TaskLink and GoCanvas is that within GoCanvas, you set up your account, you set up your forms, you set up your fields. In TaskLink, you're able to action on all of that, right? So you're able to schedule things, you're able to view what information is being collected in the field. TaskLink is really that bridge between Bluebeam and GoCanvas, bridging the office and the field and centralizing everything in one location, which is Revu, where you love to live.
Great. That's a great question. Thank you, everybody, for those. Let's continue with some other questions here. Michael asks, is TaskLink already implemented, or does it need to be installed with an update to the app?
When you go through the QR code, the build itself that you will need, the version of Revu that you will need is inside that process. So you will have a link that will allow you to download the specific Revu build, and I'll give you access. It'll have that turned on. But in December, it will be accessible to everyone. It is what you saw today is live, though. So everything that is recorded there can already be obtained through the beta.
Yeah, that's great. And for those of you that aren't able to attend beta, keep an eye out for that release later in December that will include the TaskLink connection. Okay, great. Let's keep looking here. Joel asks, does TaskLink work locally or through studio sessions and studio projects?
I love answering this question. It works for everything. So anywhere you have a PDF, you'll be able to, and everywhere you have a markup, you will be able to edit that markup to add a task link or to add a task using GoCanvas. So you'll be able to see that everywhere you work.
That's great. It's a great question about that.
And actually something that always comes up, and maybe it's in one of the questions already, it goes about licensing. So does everyone in your organization need a license for it? The answer is no. If you're in Revu, the people that are assigning those forms will need a GoCanvas license. As you notice, I had to log in to be able to see the forms that are hosted in GoCanvas. So only those in Revu that are assigning forms will need GoCanvas. Now in the field, anyone receiving those forms will also need a GoCanvas as well. But once you have access to GoCanvas, you will also see there's a concept of web forms that allows you to send forms to collaborators. So technically for those who only need to fill out one form once, they're with you for a couple of weeks, they don't really need access, you have that the web forms available. There's more information on that in our website.
That's great. Got a question from Jim about access to the beta program. Due to our beta program, we have different beta projects running. So that QR code is going to add you into the queue for this beta program. Then our beta team is going to scoop up everybody and make it available. So we will get you the link to the build following this here shortly. We had a good question here from James. This one's going to be for Brent. James asks, does GoCanvas also integrate with Procore and ACC, Autodesk Construction Cloud? Brent, are you able to answer that?
I am, yeah. GoCanvas can integrate with anything that has an open API. It's kind of simply put, those are both offerings that have open APIs. So we've had customers who dabble in those worlds. So absolutely. Someone also asked about some information about the API. So just in general, it's a modern RESTful API. Again, super well documented. If you just Google GoCanvas API, you'll see some information come up about that. If you have additional questions, you can feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to answer questions there too.
Yeah. Brent, this is a good question too. Travis asks, how do service companies utilize TaskLink? Or what would be some of the use cases there?
Service companies, can you give me a little more information about what you mean by that specifically?
Yeah, let's refer that to the single operator focusing on specific trades, going out in the field, executing projects, contract service and maintenance type of work, maybe less so of the general contracting type of work.
Sure, yeah, makes sense. So some of the most common use cases that we have today regularly will be, we'll see people doing daily reports for whatever job they're working on. They're doing a daily walk of some kind. They'll do that very often. Vehicle inspections are really common for us as well too. Just making sure everything's in tip-top shape and operating as expected is also an important part of all of it. Also, work orders is another really common thing that we have people that are regularly doing. Anything that you're doing today, and then also use cases that you're not doing that maybe you should be. So, I like to start people with daily reports in case they aren't already doing that. Just making sure that they've got kind of a system of record that contains all that information where I've got photo evidence of what actually took place, any of my notes from that day are there too, and having the confidence to kind of be able to go back and refer to those things as needed as projects unfold. We'll also have people that have regular kind of service appointments that they'll schedule for themselves in advance. So if I have something that I'm doing a quarterly inspection on the site, they can queue those up and kind of assign them to themselves ahead of time so that they just kind of have their calendar full of the jobs to be done. You can get pretty intricate with it and have your whole workflow kind of set up for yourself and the team ahead of time for stuff like that.
That's great. Can we, we've got a couple questions looking for the QR code again. Can we bring up the QR code slide?
I think it's live, right? I think that is what they're showing right now.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Luke, I see a lot of questions around what's the cost of the beta? The beta is actually free. So as long as you have Bluebeam and you have signed up for our labs program, you'll have access to this program. So you'll be able to, with the QR, register for the program. Will give you access, and that will send you the build. Now, because a lot of you will not have GoCanvas, we do offer a 2-week trial. So once you have access to the beta, you'll be able to trial it using the GoCanvas trial for 2 weeks. Post that, that's when we're talking about the full license. So you're looking at that 108 per user per year. Yeah, but just to test it out, it could be free for the next 2 weeks.
Great. Another question has come up. Do all field users who have been assigned a task, do they require a GoCanvas subscription? Brent, is that one that you can answer?
Yeah, happy to talk through that. So, the way to think about it too, and Louisa touched on it, people who are going to be assigning and kind of dispatching the tasks to be done from Revu, those people will need a license for TaskLink. Anybody who's going to be collecting information in the field will also need to have a license for TaskLink. So even if they're not touching Revu, they're going to be logging into GoCanvas in the field. they'll see that information coming from Revu on GoCanvas, and that's where they'll collect the information. So if somebody's going to be capturing and filling out the information, the assumption should be that they'll need to see yes.
We had a good question from David asking about if you can use custom markups out of the tool chest for things like a sanitary observation, a water main observation. Luisa, you want to talk a little bit about the types of markups or any limitations that might be there in terms of associating a link to a markup?
All markups will have access to TaskLink. So it doesn't matter whether it's a custom markup or an out-of-the-box markup. You'll be able to add a task onto that and see that in your markup list, in your studio sessions, everywhere that you're using your markups.
Yep. And also one note too, we are adding a little bit of information about the task link item to that markup in the markups list. So you can use the tools you're used to using today, like batch summary and the markup summary for sorting, reporting, pulling that information, and it will include that task link status. So it is actually logged against that markup in the markups list. So that's great. Thank you, Luisa. Let's see. Other good questions here. There's a lot that has come in. This is great. Let me also make a note too. Some of you have been asking for pricing information and quotes. We'll certainly follow up with you based on that. We will follow up with all of the questions that have been raised here. So please do that. There's a bigger question about GoCanvas APIs. So maybe Brent, you can answer. What types of APIs do you have, and what information can be pushed, pulled? We can answer that. I do want to just make a note too that this integration does not require the use of any APIs that someone would need to know how to code or build. It is ready to go, point and click right out of the box. So that was really important that this worked just very easily for our customers. So Brent, tell us just a little bit more about what data is available through the GoCanvas APIs.
Yeah, sure. I mean, almost everything that you are pushing and pulling out of GoCanvas, you can is available in the API today. So if you've got dispatches that you're creating, you can grab all the information about who it went to, how it got there, what time it got delivered, the information that was kind of collected there in the field as well. Like all those values can also be pushed very easily with the API. I'm trying to think of it's a shorter list of the things that it can't do, quite frankly. If you've got stuff around your projects that you're doing, you can get all that in and out as well. You can create dispatches via the API too, so it's easy, like you can create stuff too from that perspective. So really anything about the form that you've collected, anything about the project with the dispatches, all of that can be managed and extracted from the API kind of as needed. And again, I encourage everybody, if you have a GoCanvas account, you can sign up for a trial even if you just go to api.gocanvas.com. Super well documented, and kind of all the nitty-gritty that you might want to have answered is all there. It's got examples also, like how to use it and take advantage of it. Some really great examples in there too.
This is good. I think we have exhausted most of the questions here. Let's just take a few more moments to look through these. And this is a good question, Brent, for you from David. Can you elaborate on how customizable the report generation is? So I'm going to assume that's going to be the PDF submission at the end of the actual information capture.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things I think to talk through with that. So right, you collect all this information in the form for GoCanvas, and then after the fact, you can actually have it kind of render in many different ways. So most of our customers like to have a single report that's in the PDF format that they'll keep internally, they'll share with the customer, they'll share with whomever after the fact, after they've collected the information. You can also have, you can fill out one set of, you can fill out one form and you can have a report that's generated and designed specifically for the customer and only shows the information that they need to care about. You could have a version that goes to the owner with a different subset of that information that is specifically tailored for them. And you can have one internally that has all the information as well. So think of it as you fill out one time and you can generate multiple different reports out of that single form that you captured. That's some of the ways that you can really take advantage of not being trapped in an analog world. You can kind of pick and choose what you do and don't show to particular audiences. You can have those things automated to send out to different people as well at the end of a submission if you want to do that. And in terms of the customization itself, so like most everything in GoCanvas, all of that is drag and drop. So we'll kind of give you a baseline. Here's a starting package for what the report looks like based on what you've told us you're interested in collecting, but you can push and pull and add logos and change colors and tweak and rearrange sections. All that can be done drag and drop, and the output is a PDF ultimately. If there are other formats you're interested in, some people, I've had a couple of customers who like generating HTML at the end for some of their reports. You can do that too. But a lot of robustness and flexibility there also. And very recently, we released the ability for you to scan in an existing PDF, and we'll basically recreate a GoCanvas form on top of that kind of magically in a couple of seconds. And so you have your exact look and feel of your current report. You fill it out in the GoCanvas mobile experience, but the standard look and feel you're accustomed to seeing with your PDFs just comes right along for the ride. So you fill everything out in that streamlined mobile experience, but the yield is exactly the report you're accustomed to seeing. We made that really, really easy to do.
A technical question, Brent, but when taking photos, does it save in the form and to the camera roll as well?
Yeah, you can set it up to do it that way. You can also set it up so that if you don't want people being able to use their camera roll ever, and you want them to have to always take a new photo when you ask them to take a photo, you can set it up to do that too, so that you're not getting pictures from last week when I want a picture from today. So we've given you some tools to kind of control what the options are for that as well. And in general, in the same spirit of like how much is staying locally on the device. So we know we work with people that work in worlds where there is low to no connection all the time. And so one of the great things about GoCanvas is it really does truly support offline workflows. So, you'll do your initial sync at the start of the day, and then after the fact, you could fill out dozens of forms with hundreds of photos. We'll store all of that locally, and then when you get back into a good connection, just kind of magically in the background, it'll start spinning for you and it'll sync up everything. So you don't have to be bothered when your connection gets down. We'll store everything that we need to locally, photos included. And then, like I said, when you come back online, we'll just shoot it back up to the cloud after the fact.
Okay, great. And let's do one final question for Luisa. There was a question about the status updates that are happening within Revu. Are those in real time? How does that happen? Talks a little bit about the mechanics behind seeing the update in the markups list and seeing it in the new task link panel.
Yeah, so because we're connected through API to GoCanvas, anytime a form updates, moves from one status to the other one, Revu is going to see that immediately. So if you're moving around, moving out of the tool, coming back in, you're going to see all of that, both updated in the side panel that we showed you, as well as in the markup list. There will be an additional refresh button. Sometimes if you have the card open and you're working on that card at this time, it won't immediately show it. So you can just keep refreshing. When you're wondering if something has happened, you'll see that. And the nice thing is the moment that form is completed, the link to the final PDF will show up there as well. So the moment that you refresh that, you'll see that new link. You'll be able to see the field information that was collected right there and then.
Thank you, Luisa. So that will conclude today's webinar. Thank you everybody for attending. Just a couple notes, please add in any additional questions or comments in the chat. We will follow up with you on that front. We certainly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend a few moments with us. We'd love to get some feedback from you. You're going to receive a short survey for suggestions for future topics. We'd love to hear from you on that front. So please, if you wouldn't mind taking a few moments to give us that feedback, that is definitely a gift. So thank you. There will also be a follow-up email next week with a link to view the recording of today's webinar. For additional upcoming events, join us at events.bluebeam.com. And on behalf of Bluebeam, GoCanvas, Brent, Luisa, and myself, thank you very much for joining us today. We are deeply appreciative. We will see you soon. Goodbye.